Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Don't forget right now, if you use code OZ at checkout, you get free worldwide shipping with gamer subs on all orders over $75. This offer will be active until May 1st at 2 p.m. EST, so be sure to use it while you can. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for demanding my girlfriend tells me her author's pen name? I've, male 32, been dating Siobhan, female 32, for 6 months now. She's always been very vague about what she does for a living, saying things like writing and working from home writing. But recently, one of her friends mentioned something and I finally dragged it out of her. She's an author. She writes and self-publishes romance and erotica stories and novels, and while not rich, she's able to make a living out of it. I googled her name and couldn't find anything, so I confronted her about this. She said she's writing under a pen name, so I demanded she gives it to me so I know what she does. She refuses, saying she doesn't want it to be leaked, even by accident, and no one knows. I accused her of not trusting me, and she still refused, which was really annoying. I tried a nicer approach and told her that I want to know her fantasies so I can try it out with her. And she told me that what she writes aren't her fantasies, but her readers. And she's still not going to tell me. At night, I tried to check her laptop for her pen name, but she changed her password before bed. I was annoyed and told her she clearly doesn't trust me, and it's not fair, because I have a right to know what she writes, especially since it's a sensitive topic, and I don't know her if I don't know her pen name. She was furious I tried to look on her laptop and told me to go home. Before leaving, I told her when she calls to apologize, I expect to get her pen name with the apology. She called me an asshole on my way out. I thought she'd call by now, but she hasn't. My sister told me I was the asshole and I should apologize, but I just don't see it and need second opinion. Was I the asshole? The only call you're gonna get from her is a breakup call, dude. You've pretty much given her every confirmation that you can't be trusted with her pen name. If you won't tell it to me, then I'll threaten you. If you won't respond to the threats, then I'll try to bribe you. If you don't respond to the bribes, then I'll snoop and go to your laptop. If I can't go to your laptop, then I'll guilt trip you and say that you better apologize and that I expect the pen name. Like when you say I tried a nicer approach and told her that I want to know her fantasies, that's you admitting that you don't actually want to know her fantasies, you just want her pen name. You're trying to just weasel your way into information that she's not comfortable telling you because you guys have only been dating for 6 months. I've known YouTubers who maintain their anonymity, and they don't tell who they're in a relationship with, what they do, for potentially upwards to a year or more. Because your identity, who you are, and the risk that comes with that potentially getting out, has a lot of consequences attached to it. All it takes is one slip-up, one mistake, from someone you trust. And you could have your address sent to you. You could have your family's address sent to you. You could have stalkers actually be able to find you and hunt you down. It gets dangerous. It's not about the fact of you deserve to know because you're dating her. It's the fact that you actively don't care about her safety. It's one thing to be curious but then respect her desire to keep herself anonymous. It's another thing to demand it, to then guilt trip her of, I expect an apology, going through her laptop and just a bunch of shit. Like, there are so many red flags within this post, it's not even funny, it's actually scary. It just shows that you can't be told no in a relationship. Where else would this extend to? I hope to God she dumped your ass. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for taking back the money I promised my daughter for her trip after she refused to watch her younger siblings for the evening? My daughter Zoe, 17, has been planning a trip with her friends for weeks and asked for my wife and my help with money. I promised her that I'll be paying for her part of the trip, which is about $80 from stuff she needs for the trip, food, and other expenses. Zoe appreciated that a lot since she normally pays for her trips and other fun things with her own money, but she left her summer job not too long ago. 2 days ago was my wife and I's wedding anniversary. We planned to go out and celebrate in the evening, and I asked Zoe if she could watch her younger siblings, 3 and 9, while we're out. She said, sorry, I have plans for tonight. I asked her to elaborate, and she said she wanted to meet her best friend at a party before she leaves town, as her friend will be moving away this month. She suggested we get a babysitter, but it was already late for me to call and arrange for a babysitter. My wife suggested calling my sister, but my sister has enough on her plate to be watching our kids. I tried to convince Zoe to skip going out and watch her brothers, but she refused and said my wife and I could stay home and celebrate, but I told her we already reserved a table at the restaurant. I was getting pissed. I brought up the trip that I was paying for and told her I'll take the money back if she refused to watch her brothers for the evening. She said no, and told her no trip then, unless she gets the money herself because I'm no longer paying for it. She screamed at me, calling me unbelievable for taking money back just because she wanted to attend her best friend's goodbye party and not wanting responsibility for her brothers. I refused to discuss it. I took the kids to my mother's house and left. My wife said I was too harsh on Zoe, especially since it's not our fault she doesn't want to be responsible for her brothers the evening. I was puzzled. I told her it's just one evening. But still, my wife thought I punished Zoe over nothing by taking the money I promised for her trip. Zoe isn't speaking to me and is cold-shouldering me because of this. Edit, I just checked the comments and some were asking why I notified her last minute. The answer is because I assumed she'd be home like usual, so I never thought of needing to get a sitter. So because you didn't plan ahead, and because you didn't think to ask or talk to your daughter about these plans, and because you didn't think to schedule a sitter potentially, your daughter's getting punished for it? She's going to a going-away party for her friend that she had already planned previously. And now you're punishing her for your poor planning for something you had previously promised to her. But hey, as it turns out, your mother conveniently is able to watch the kids. Why didn't you explore that option before punishing your daughter, huh? All things considered, by the way, it's a reservation. You can cancel a reservation. There being a reservation being the reason why your daughter must miss her friend's goodbye party, which you conveniently obfuscated by describing it as a party that your daughter would be meeting her friend at and not the actual goodbye party, and you don't clarify that until the very end, it just kind of shows how much you're dancing on the situation and trying to make it seem as though what your daughter's doing isn't important. She's 17, she's starting to live her own life now, and she's getting closer and closer to being 18, which means her contact with you is becoming closer and closer to being optional. Keep that in mind. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter the past is in the past? Throwaway account because I don't post personal stuff on my main. So for context, my 18-year-old has had a difficult childhood. We moved a lot and I was in a mental hospital for a bit, and her father passed away when she was 8, and I probably could have been a little more involved in her life instead of putting my issues first. However, I have since apologized for me being like that, and she's been in therapy for a bit. Fast forward to yesterday. We're at a restaurant with her grandparents who she lives with, and she's on her phone the whole time. I'm just drawing with her sister, and she mutters under her breath, "You never drew pictures with me." Then later she starts crying, and I softly tell her to stop crying here, since it's a public place and it's rude. She yells at me and says, "Everything I do pisses you off, doesn't it?" Well, guess what? This is how someone who was raised the way I was acts. Then gets up from the table. Me and grandparents just sit there confused. When she comes back, she glares at me and sits down and says she's sorry for saying that and that it was uncalled for. She gets back on her phone and is frantically texting someone. I let her know that she's not wrong about it, but I've already apologized and constantly feel awful about the way I used to be, and that the past is in the past and to move on. I even said that I would have talked about it with her, but there's a time and a place, you know? Then she starts sobbing loudly, and I nicely tell her to calm down. Then she storms off and sits in the car. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I know I've made mistakes in the past, and I always carry the weight of them, but she won't move on. She's done things that have hurt me, yet I still am there for her and try to understand her. But she's so cold to me. She even texts her friends about how awful I am, etc., and they're on her side with it all the time. So I'm asking here, am I the asshole for trying to let go of the past and move on? I genuinely don't know how to go about it. I probably will never understand her, but I don't want her to hate me for it. Thanks. It's not rude to cry in public, by the way. It almost kind of feels like you're more worried about the optics of your daughter crying at the table while you all are kind of berating her. If I grabbed an aluminum bed and walked into a china shop and started to do my best Scout from Team Fortress 2 impression, if I apologized for all the broken china, would that fix the china? No. No, it would not. It takes time, it takes effort, and even if you manage to piece everything back together, it's still never going to be the same. It can get close, but it's never going to be perfectly one-to-one. Even processes like kintsugi, I believe that's how it's pronounced, where you use gold to repair broken pottery, still leaves the final result visibly altered. And even though those gold scars might make the pottery more visually appealing, it still requires a process to get there. A simple "I'm sorry" isn't going to fix it. It's time, it's effort, it's love, and it's care. Another thing to keep in mind is, let's just assume, ballpark it, OP is 40. It sounds like a lot of things started falling apart and going downhill when she was 8, when her father passed away, which means 10 years, a fourth of your life. But those are also 10 recent years. Those 10 recent years will feel a lot shorter than the 10 years that she experienced going from 8 to 18 compared to going 30 to 40. To her, while it is the same amount of time, those are more impactful years. That's more weight holding her down. That's her entire developmental period being burdened by that and something that she needs to get through and to work on. And you're just trying to sweep it under the rug with a "I said I was sorry, stop crying." And also, just because your daughter's in therapy doesn't mean that she walks in and walks out completely cured of everything. Therapy is time, effort, kintsugi. It's a process. One that you need to respect and be there for your daughter and understand that just because you've apologized doesn't fix the hurt. But what will is talking with your daughter and hearing her, listening to her, and not just hand-waving what's currently on her mind with, "Get past it, it's in the past, I already apologized." I'm glad you've put yourself together, but now it's time for you to help your daughter up. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for getting annoyed that people near me were moving and making it so obvious it was because of me and my girlfriend? So I was studying in this space that wasn't a library, but it is usually often very quiet, but there's no actual rule against talking, and people usually talk to some extent. Me and my girlfriend were kinda giggling and laughing, and these two men, gay couple I believe, 'cause I've seen them around campus and they've held hands, also it's a small college, immediately start packing up their things and going. And they don't even make it look like they're leaving the area. They're like picking up their belongings and making it so obvious they're moving to another table farther away because of us. And one of them looks at me in a side eye. Like, why are me and my girlfriend being made to feel guilty about just laughing and giggling in a place that isn't even a library and there's no rule against it? I kinda confronted them. What do you mean kinda? I kinda confronted them, asking what their deal was. And they were confused, and I said it was kinda dickish, that they made a scene about us being disruptive, and one of them said they were trying to study for an organic Chem 2 test. I said it's not a quiet zone, and it's just rude to make people feel bad about not being quiet in a not quiet zone. He said, "Bro, there's a difference between talking and collaborating versus constantly laughing super loudly." He said we were being pretty obnoxiously loud, and they don't go to the library because it's awkwardly silent, but that this place is a respected study place, and it's common courtesy to not be laughing at a volume that echoes throughout the whole floor. I do kind of admit we were laughing a bit loud. He said it's also weird I confronted them about it, like, who does that? And I said whatever, and I went back to my seat. Me and my girlfriend both thought it was an asshole move on their part. So by your own admission, it's oftentimes usually a very quiet area, and while there aren't any rules, it's just a social contract. You guys were being loud, they were studying for OChem, they decided the area was too loud and they wanted to move, so they decided to move to a quieter area, and you confronted them for not wanting to be around you and your girlfriend who were being loud in an area that's usually quiet. You only confronted them because you were worried that it was making you look bad. It made you feel bad that they had to move to a new location, so rather than realize, oh, shit, I'm breaking this common social contract, you decided to double down on being a shitty person. Also, why the fuck does it matter that they're gay? Seriously. Like, does it actually matter? Like, what relevance does them being a gay couple, because you've seen them holding hands, have to the story? You know how those sassy gays are, side-eyeing me because I'm being too loud with my girlfriend because we're straight, and they're not because I've seen them holding hands. Dude, like, what the fuck are you doing? Cross posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for saying I don't have the time or money to help? My ex-wife and I have been divorced for 2 years. We have 1 child together. She tries to be friendly, but I think it's inappropriate, so I keep her at bay. I got COVID 3 months ago. This was posted 5 years ago, by the way. I was in a really bad way, and I called her. She stayed with me for 3 weeks, made my food, cleaned for me, administered my medications, and even rubbed my back while I was getting sick. She was amazingly attentive. I felt guilty for calling her, but she's always been there, and I can always count on her. Another friend brought me soup, but my ex has always been very nurturing. As I started feeling better, I started talking to my friends more, and I didn't want her around as much, so I started ignoring her when she came in. I could tell it hurt her, but I know she still cares about me, and I didn't want her interfering in my other relationships, thinking anything has changed. Recently, she asked me for additional help with the baby. I told her I didn't have the time or the money to help with because I was making up for missed time while being sick. My sister told me I'm being an asshole and I should at least make time because she put her whole life on hold to take care of me when she didn't have to. She said I was unappreciative and that people look their whole lives for people like her, and I'm treating her like garbage. She said the only reason I treat her like this is because I still have feelings and I want to appease my friends and girlfriends. My sister called her and is helping with the baby now, and she's turned my family against me. I missed a lot of work and I'm making it up. Am I the asshole for not making time? Edit, she previously had COVID, so she had a lower risk than anyone else. My other friends texted and checked in on me, and I had 1 drop of soup. I can see that a majority feel I'm the asshole here, and if that's the case, I will work it out with work to adjust schedule a little. It was annoying after a while when I felt better to have her still checking in. It was like she expected me to entertain her when I just wanted to relax. It was a habit to call her. We divorced because she wasn't who I envisioned myself with. I feel that love should be more passion and sparks. And where we had chemistry, she was of the old school belief that love is work and taking care of each other. I just couldn't bring her around my friends either. She just didn't fit in. We've been amicable, and she's not saying anything about being upset. COVID really hurt me fiscally, so I've been working extra to make up. I didn't feel that she was entitled to time outside of our agreement, but I can see where it would be best in the interest of our child. Do I even need to, say anything for this one? The guy's just gross. I mean, dude had his back being rubbed and she was his, maid for a little bit. And it's just well, it's just how she is. She's so nurturing. But we're just not compatible because she's too nurturing and believe that love takes work. And I just want sparks and passion. What the fuck do you think causes the sparks and passion? It's the work you put into it. Meanwhile, after taking care of her ex-husband, who's a fucking deadbeat apparently, she asks, hey, can I have some help with our fucking child? And you're like, wow, that was outside of our agreement, and I just don't have the time or the money, and... Buddy, why are you like this? Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for leaving prom early to get Taco Bell? Me, 18 female, my boyfriend, 18 male, and my cousin, 19 male, have all been planning on going to prom this year ever since we transferred to my cousin's school. We were all seniors at the time, and I've never been to an actual prom, or formal dance. only once in elementary school. So I was easily convinced to go, even though I get anxious in public places. I spent over $100 on a dress for it, and spent weeks deciding which one to pick. The dance was masquerade themed. I almost didn't go because of how indecisive I was. I didn't really want to go, but I know I wouldn't hear the end of it if I didn't, especially since I was the ride for my cousin who was going to prom with his girlfriend. So, the day of prom, I spent hours getting ready. My hair was professionally done, I got my nails done, and I spent a few hours perfecting my makeup. Fast forward to that night, everything's going to plan. My mom brings me, my boyfriend, and my cousin, and we start heading there. I start dreading it a little because I've never done anything like this before. So I decided to ask my mom to go to Taco Bell a few towns over. And after she gets the order to come pick us up from the prom, I assumed it was going to be fine with my cousin and my boyfriend, so I didn't ask them beforehand. I told them when my mom got here, and they were pissed. Apparently, they didn't feel the same as me, and they wanted to stay longer. I just wanted to take some pictures for my Instagram, then leave. I didn't find anything about it fun. No one was really dancing, the food wasn't it. I just wasn't enjoying myself. I was expecting something more sophisticated, not paper plates and bland food. I found it lame, and just wanted to leave. It didn't take my mom long to get here after taking some photos, and then I told my boyfriend and cousin about my mom, and I just don't understand their reactions. This was all of our only ride, and my mom didn't want to waste gas going back and forth, so they had no choice but to leave with me. They all blame me for this, saying I ruined their last and only prom, but I just don't understand why they would want to stay there anyways. My mom and aunt are upset with me too because they're on my cousin's side about this whole thing. My cousin won't talk to me now, and my boyfriend tries not to seem too upset, but you can tell he is. My cousin told me my boyfriend was really upset with me, but didn't want to mess anything up in our relationship. My mom also says she wasted money on my dress to wear it for not even an hour at the dance, but I liked it and thought it looked good in the pictures I took. My mom rented my boyfriend's suit too, and she keeps telling me how much of her money I'm wasting to not even have fun there. I feel like it's not my fault, and if my mom didn't want to grab us and wanted me to stay, it's her responsibility. Mother, meet under the bus. Under the bus, meet mother. I mean, you did ruin a lot of people's prom by having your mom pick you up early and just simply canceling the night because you didn't give the prom enough time to get started. Instead, you just took photos for Instagram and wanted to leave, which brings me to the fact of I really hate Instagram culture and the idea of just posing for photos and calling it good without actually making any memories. It actually led to a problem where I was so against taking photos for this exact reason that I've kind of forgotten to actually preserve memories. Taking photos is fine, but you need to use them sparingly as a way to kind of help you relive some of those moments and remember them, and remember the memories that are worth remembering. Taking a photo for the photo's sake, when you look at that photo, all you're going to think of is the time it took for you to get prepared for that photo, and then you took the photo, and that's it. There's no actual good memories surrounding that photo. It's just a photo for the sake of taking a photo for Instagram. And ironically enough, that's why a lot of people, they like those photos because in their head it's, oh, think about how much fun they're having, or what kind of stories or memories they're making there. I want a life like that. And in reality, they just pose, take 500 photos, figure out which ones are the best, and post them to Instagram, and boom! No actual memories made. Just the memory of taking the photos. Cross-posted from r/off my chest. My fiancé and I are having the biggest argument of our lives. She thinks I'm being tacky, but I think she's overreacting. I don't know if I'm going crazy or what, but my fiancé and I are having a huge argument. We, 27 male and 26 female, aren't even married yet, and we've never had an argument like this before in our entire relationship. In my home province, engaged couples host a party before their wedding. People call it different things, a social, or a Jack and Jill, or a stag and doe. The purpose is for the couple to raise money. The couple rent a hall or some other venue. People pay an entrance fee, and there are raffles, and games, and a silent auction. Family and friends of the couple donate the prizes. They bring food for a potluck and alcohol, so drinks can be sold at the party. My fiance says this is the tackiest thing she's ever heard of and doesn't want us to have one. She refuses. She said it is the height of rudeness to hold a party where the guests have to pay to attend, donate prizes and money, and bring the food and alcohol. It's common to invite people to this if you're close to them as friends, but not close enough to invite them to your wedding. But my fiance almost exploded when she found out. She says there's no way we're having one, and we'll have the wedding and honeymoon we can afford. I don't know what her problem is. I've been to a ton of these in my life. Everyone I know who has gotten married has had one. My fiance said they don't have this in her home province, and she's never heard of it before. I don't know if it's common in the province her and I currently live in or not. I went back home to my cousin's stag and dough when my fiance and I had just gotten together, but my fiance said she thought a stag and dough was a joint bachelor/bachelorette party, since my cousin's wife was pregnant and this was the second wedding for both of them. I never said anything because I thought my fiance knew what it was. I don't see why she's refusing to have one or digging in heels so much. My family and friends keep asking about when we're going to have ours. They think it would be weird to not have one. My fiance's family and friends agree with her. I swear I've never argued with anyone about anything so much in my life, and it's really starting to get to me. I think she's overreacting, and I'm tired of arguing. I grew up in Idaho. Never heard of this. When I first read the story, I thought OP was lying in the post and trying to make something that he made up sound more realistic and trying to find a way to get more money for the wedding. And I agree with the fiance that, yeah, this sounds really tacky of hosting something and having guests pay for entry and having them essentially do all the heavy lifting. But I Googled it. And yeah, in specifically Manitoba, it's actually really common. And it's actually weird if you don't do one in Manitoba. Which then brings the question of like, well, do you just host one for that side of the family that wants one and then, because they're the ones who want to go to one and they're the ones who want to do it? Or do you just not have one at all? Or do you have one with the understanding that it's probably not going to bring in as much as a usual one may have because only one side of the family wants to actually participate? I was fully ready to call OP the devil just for the party itself, but now it's in the position of like, well, shit, no, this is an actual thing that people look forward to and enjoy. I don't think OP's the devil, but I definitely think that he and his fiance need to sit down and figure out some middle ground here because we have two different Canadian cultures clashing here. And it involves the fiance calling OP's culture tacky, which probably doesn't feel good. But we also have to keep in mind that what OP is asking of the fiance is going to be seen as rude by her family. So it's in a position of insulting one family's culture while also asking of something incredibly rude to another. It's just a nasty cultural clash. And at the end, OP needs to be okay with the fiance's family not wanting to attend the Stag and Doe or Jack and Jill or whatever it might be called. If he's going to host one, that is. I also went to the comments of this post and r/AmITheDevil to see if maybe I could get some more context, and I did in fact find some context. User Andante79 comments, I'm from Manitoba, where wedding socials, the part OP described, are absolutely normal and culturally acceptable. To Manitobans, in Manitoba, a social is not a stag/doe or a bachelor or a bachelorette party. I've been to countless socials for friends, family, and strangers over the last 30 years. Here, it is just a party where there are prizes, dancing, drinking, and food. They're meant to be a fundraiser to help younger couples start out in life while also having a party. If I lived elsewhere, would I suggest throwing a social? Absolutely not, because non-Manitobans don't get it, which is totally fine. Provinces and territories have vastly different cultures, and this is one of those things. Susan Davy Jones responds, yeah, do his parents want to throw one for them in his hometown? That's maybe something the fiance can come around on, but does he want to have one where he lives now? Where it isn't their custom and they think it's tacky? That's a definite no. User Strangled in Moonlight comments, and her whole side thinks it's tacky. That means her side isn't going to support this. So it probably won't raise as much as they usually do. In another comment thread, user Inda Gold comments, if this is Manitoba, it's super normal here. I was weirded out when I moved here, but it's a long-standing social custom. User Valina comments, it's so wild to me because as a Canadian who's lived on the opposite coasts, This is the first time I've learned of this custom. The Sentient Toadstool comments, I live in Saskatchewan and I've never heard of this. Usually we're the weird neighbors. User Ambitious Hornet 9673 comments, yep, I have friends in Manitoba and it's so normal there. Also in Sask, and everyone would rightfully say it's tacky here. So, because OP is being asked to host this, and because this is common in their culture and in their province, I'm not going to call OP the devil for wanting to participate in something that he participated and his family participated and his friends have participated and pretty much everyone around him participated in while growing up. And now he's being asked to host one. What I will say is the concept is kind of sweet. The community kind of coming together to raise money for the newlyweds so that way they can have a nice wedding while also making it a fun time. That is actually kind of sweet in the fact that everyone's so eager to do it. Unfortunately, I decided to do some digging and there is an update. So the update is that my 28 male, fiance 27 female, and me didn't get married. I posted here 6 months ago about how we were having the biggest argument of our entire relationship. Back then, I had no idea all the arguing and all the things I said would lead to this. But all the fighting and anger exposed the cracks in our relationship, and things began to fall apart. Maybe our relationship wasn't as strong as I thought it was. I don't know. I regret the way I acted and the things I said. No matter how much we were fighting, I know at the end of the day, the breakup was ultimately my fault because of how I acted. There was a big divide between us because my ex-fiancée and her family and friends thought having a social/Jack and Jill before the wedding was tacky and the height of rudeness. Me, my family, and my friends thought having one was fine. The wedding was supposed to be on Saturday. Today, we would have been 4 days married and on our honeymoon somewhere, but instead, I'm trying to get over the pain of our breakup. I don't even see or talk to her now. So it seems this was a hill that OP wanted to die on, and it does seem that does put him into devil category because he was unwilling to talk with and compromise with his fiancée. He was very set in his ways, and potentially said some pretty nasty things along the way. Cracks got exposed, and there's the breakup. I don't think he's the devil for wanting this kind of party because it's common within his culture and province. But if he was trying to push his fiance's family into it, and was unwavering and uncompromising and said some nasty stuff, then yeah, that would put him into devil territory. There's also the question if a compromise was ever actually put into place, if the fiancé just flat out refused to have one no matter what, even if it was just going to be his family. So, no matter what, it just seems like compromise was never on the table. Well, looks like we have one of them YouTube watchers here who actually watches the entire video. Cletus, do you know what we do to people like that?
Yuck. I want to let them know that GamerSubs is doing a free shipping deal.
You're damn right there, boy. That's right, if you use code OZ at checkout with GamerSubs right now, for all purchases over $75, you get free shipping until May 1st at 2 p.m. EST. So if you want to avoid those extremely high shipping costs, well, now's your chance. What the fuck was that bit? Also, just because I do see comments about it, would you guys rather that I do this with GamerSubs where they just don't really care what I say as long as I don't get them sued and the ad reads can be like this short? Or would you rather I do like a minute 30 for like a random sponsor that I may or may not actually give a shit about? Just genuine question. Which one would you prefer? The GamerSubs option? Or a minute and 30 sponsored ad break that I have to put in the middle of the video? Personally, I enjoy working with GamerSubs, and even though the pay probably wouldn't be as good if I shilled random companies, I still prefer this one here because it's a product I actually use and care about. They don't pay me to say that, by the way. Anyways, I'll be catching y'all next time, hopefully, unless for some reason there was a take in this video because I haven't quite recorded it yet that just made you think, you know what, I'm fucking done with this Oz bastard, and clicking off. But hey, for those of you who have decided to stay despite my, missteps, I appreciate that. I hope to catch y'all next time.